Before we first touched, I thought that I knew depth of my heart before we were two. Before I first saw you, I'd pass people by. Before you first smiled at me, I never tried. Before we were two, my life was a sailing ship, tied fast to a dock, just waiting for you. I walked in this hard world with weapons held high. When I felt your skin on mine, my blood turned to fire. I laughed at the fables my friends spun for me. Before I first held you, I did not believe. Before we were two, my life was a sailing ship, tied fast to a dock, just waiting for you. Before my castle was solid, stronger than stone. Before you walked in my door, I was happy alone. Before I first kissed, my eyes could not view a paradise on earth before we were two. Before we were two, my life was a sailing ship, tied fast to a dock, just waiting for you. Before we first touched, I thought that I knew the depth of my heart. Before we were two, the depth of my heart. Before we were two.
Man, that's pretty. Did you say you just wrote that? I don't remember that.
Just, last week.
Last week? That's a good song, Dave.
Thank you. That should sound a little better now. So I want to acknowledge that you guys were really thrown for a loop with me not showing up, and we'll make sure I get that the reminders in place.
They almost had to listen to me, David.
Oh. All right, so I'm going to do another one here. Let's, So hearing, how's the balance on guitar and vocal?
The balance is perfect.
All right. So this song came from actually a poem that I'd written back in my traveling days. And I just, a few years ago, I realized, why haven't I turned that story into a song? So this is Celinas Midnight Cook. Wipers complain, but this drizzle won't end. Goodbye to these towns, I won't come this way again. Highway turns to lanes of red and white stars, so I pull off at Celina, but don't see many cars. My coffee cup is chipped, but my hands are warm. Homemade pie has cured this storm. From my plastic booth, I see her standing there, just outside her kitchen, finger twirling her hair. Celinas Midnight Cook, lean Kansas blonde, long fingers in her book. She clearly doesn't belong. Is she on the trail of a murder mystery, or in an elevator with a client to see? Is there a train in the snow with a romance afoot? One thing I'm sure of, she's no longer a cook. She sees me staring, and I feel a fool, but she welcome home smiles and winks so cool. She comes to my table, and my face gets hot. She puts a hand on my shoulder, says, "Sweetie, what do you want?" Celinas Midnight Cook, lean Kansas blonde, long fingers in her book. She clearly doesn't belong. Wanna ask what she's reading, wanna ask her name. I want a ticket on that train. I swear there's a smile on her fingertips, but I say I should be going and leave my tip. I drive away into the night, hating to leave, but knowing it was right. Somewhere there's a lucky guy who will win her heart. My story and hers are just too far apart. Celinas Midnight Cook, lean Kansas blonde, long fingers in her book. She clearly doesn't belong. Wipers complain, but this drizzle won't end. Bye to these towns, won't come this way again.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a lonely little town that night, I'll bet.
Celina, yeah. Midnight in Celina, Kansas. And, you know, I was going to dig out that poem, which was typewritten. Gives you an idea of the time period. And I never did find it, but it was written from a real experience. So it was easy to remember it. What am I doing? I think this was the main heart.
I saw Conway Twitty there one night, and boy, did he look bored up on stage.
You know, the Midwest audiences sometimes just kind of sit in silence, and a lot of performers coming from the East Coast are like, Are they alive?
He was like the height of his career, you know, his country singing career, and he got up there and he just stood there and sang, you know, and people just stood there and watched him. I mean, sat there and watched him. But you know, when the show was over, he walks to the edge of the stage and he sits there and signs everything. People just lined up. He signed everything till everyone was gone. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're doing great, Jack. Great. You're sounding great.
So this is a song about compromises we find ourselves in sometimes in our love life. It's called Love Gone Wild. House is dark, the bed's still made. Thought that you'd be home. Hours later I turn in. I hate these nights alone. I should worry about your safety, but I could tell by your sad smile that tonight is just love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Like a snow drifting high, or the prairie on fire. Love, love gone wild. That I'm a fool, I have no doubt, but the years between, sweeter than I ever thought my life could be. I've felt that wildness, seen that flame, but I lost it when you smiled. Like the memory of your love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Like a snow drifting high, or the prairie on fire. Love, love gone wild. I see your picture by our bed, your hand upon the wall. Some abandoned Catholic church, the windows stained and tall. There were words in Latin, incense, and prayers for a while. Maybe a confession of a love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Like a snow drifting high, or the prairie on fire. Love, love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Love, love gone wild. Like a snow drifting high, or for the prairie on fire. Love, love, gone wild. Love, love, gone wild.
Beautiful.
Well, should we let someone else finish it out, since I messed up my time and I've got people coming into my Zoom event at 2.
Yeah, if you don't want to do one, if you got a short one, you can do a short one and be done.
All right, I'll do one more.
We really appreciate you coming, Dave. You're sounding great.
I text Beretta when we learn of a fire. She rendezvous as the flames reach higher. She hacks a Wi-Fi like trying on shoes. Post online for the 6 o'clock news. Sure, we feel sorry for the ones who get hurt by the carelessness of a lazy jerks. It's just good to know other people get burned. We're not the only ones who live and not learn. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. We're glad when it's someone else's turn to live and not learn. Our tow truck's cab is cozy and warm as Beretta looks out on a winter storm. We'll get a dispatch from the AAA. We'll work all night right into the day. People stand around and shake their heads. They know they should have known better instead. We just hook 'em up, drag 'em away. Better than us, oh, any day. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. I'm glad when it's someone else's turn to live and not learn. Getting another dispatch on the phone. Folks call from the lake, car sinking fast. Beretta shakes her head, lets her give it a pass. Been a raining for days, ground soggy with muck. 4-wheel drive doesn't guarantee luck. Hook 'em up anyway and say a prayer. I guess I should have worn warmer underwear. The muddy slope gives way. It's not my turn, but I just hate it when I have to live and not learn. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. Live and not learn. We're glad when it's someone else's turn to live and not learn. Live and not learn. Beretta, could you call a tow truck? All right, I'll call.
Thank you very much, folks. That's David Hakan from Kansas.